this evening, and after being informed on Tuesday that the proposed Kimball and Kimball contract would involve a 2-year implementation process, I am shocked that there is no complementing proposal regarding options for safety measures that can be implemented in the interim. For example, proposal and timelines to the board for authorization of vetted parent volunteers on campus providing extra eyes and ears to support this see something, say something policy. Now, I know that Eric put out an email today, and that was on the agenda that you put out saying that that's something you guys are going to be looking into. My thing is how long is that going to take? Because I feel like that is something that can work and be extremely effective. When will we see this actually implemented, and what needs to happen to bring this to fruition? What about clear backpacks? This has become a standard at all Monterey County youth football games after a safety incident in a game this season. Hired security guards since money is not an issue. We found that out on last night, the night before at the safety meeting. So there is, let's see here, sorry. Metal detectors or even anti-bullying contract that shows a complete outlining a schedule of consequences for both the parents and the students to sign. I think that would be extremely effective. So there's more ownership and commitment with understanding that bad choices or bullying behavior have consequences like suspension. I think consequences do a lot more than apologies. You need both, but there also needs to be consequences. There were so many facts brought to light at Tuesday's town hall meeting, even though the administration had apologized for their mistake and how the incident that took place on the morning of September 7th, the same day of the last board meeting, and nothing was mentioned to the board that day. There is a growing majority, but I'm just speaking for myself. The decisions made by the administration and the principal on 9/7 and many others made sense, demonstrate some level of incompetence, and have put the lives of students in harm's way. I ask the board today to formally open an investigation into these actions. This administration has failed us and the parents and the families and us as a community, and it's time for there to be accountability, not just apologies. We need more than just apologies. We need accountability. Thank you.
Thank you. Enrique Salinas?
Thank you guys for what you guys said. My kids, I have 2 boys in 6th grade. I have family. My family's been in Spreckels since my mom, my aunt's kindergarten, 8th grade. My nephew's Buena Vista. And they all said the same thing. You guys, bullying is taken very lightly. For what I see and what all the other parents are saying is you guys support it. There's no disciplinary actions. You guys kind of just sweep it under the rug. I don't know if it's your culture because we live out here and you don't want to be looked at as town, but you guys need to change your disciplinary protocol or whatever you guys got to do because it's not working. Eric, I know you do a lot of stuff, but I don't think you're doing the right things. So I would also like the investigation and go on what happened to these people's kids, because if it was my kid, I wouldn't be standing here. I mean, what was your kid? What would you do if it was your kid? Or your kid? Or your kid? Or your kid or your kid? You know? Would you just be standing here and be like, oh, we're sorry? If I do something wrong, I'm going to jail. Right? But I can't just say I'm sorry. What makes you guys different? You guys are in a position to take care of our kids. Like, you have the utmost trust, and you're just taking it very lightly. Disrespecting all of us to our face. You know, and yesterday, when this lady was talking about her child, you were up there making faces. You were just, shaking your head like if you didn't believe what she was saying. I know I'm not the only one that's seen it. I don't know if maybe you were thinking of something else, but when someone's letting their heart out about their kid crying, you should probably give your utmost attention to them. Your guys' protocol is broke. Your system is breaking down. You guys need to fix it. I don't want an email. I mean, I get an email by 9 o'clock when my kid's not in his class. He goes to the doctor. Why weren't these people let know that there was a knife to their child's throat? Why haven't you reached out for help, mental help? Nothing. Sorry. You know, and this budget with this company, you guys, how much is that costing us? You know, where's the resources for the mental health? What's your protocol with your teachers? These are problem child kids. Even the kids know who they are. Why don't you guys know? Why isn't it bringing it up in your guys' weekly meeting or something? Everybody knows except you guys. And everybody says the same thing. Everybody knows who the kids are. What are you guys just sweeping it? They guys don't want to acknowledge this, or because everybody else sees it, and you guys are saying, "Oh yeah, we're doing this and we're doing that." You guys ain't doing shit except sending emails.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sarah Papineau Brandt. Did I say it correct?
I also didn't prepare anything because I wasn't sure what I wanted to say tonight. My son was one of the victims in this altercation that took place on the 7th. I do want to start out by saying that my son has received an excellent education at Buena Vista Middle School. He loves his teachers. He loves teachers who aren't his teachers. And he did get into the online academy, and he's chosen to stay at Buena Vista Middle School because of his friends. I do want to talk tonight about bullying, which I think is the root cause of this problem. I don't want to talk tonight about what happened on that day, and I don't want to talk about the causes, failures of administration, because we've all talked about that. I want to talk about the bullying that is incessant, and that he didn't feel safe coming to administration because of failures of not this administration, but past administration and past adults. He's been failed in the past, and it wasn't this administration that had failed him. He had been told I had gone to the school in the past with past bullies, thought the situation had been rectified, and in fact it had gotten worse. And he learned that if I go and tell my mom and I tell the adults and they talk to the bully, it's going to get worse for me, so I'm just going to keep my mouth shut. Because if I keep my mouth shut, maybe it doesn't keep getting worse. And I said it in the meeting on Tuesday night. In 6th grade, it got so bad that my son at 12 years old tried to kill himself because the bully had gotten that bad. And in this situation, this bully on September 7th was his friend since 4th grade. So now how do I tell my son to go back to school and it's a safe place because someone he didn't know bullied him, and now someone who was his friend held a knife to him and said, I always wanted to know what it's like to kill someone. What do I tell him? He said, who's next, Mom? And if this kid comes for someone, he's going to come for me. And what do I tell him? I don't know what to tell him. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Raul Gutierrez.
Do I press this or?
It's on.
It's on. All right. So once again, my daughter was one of the victims. She was attacked. She's the one that had a knife put to her throat. And it wasn't just put to her throat. The knife actually touched her skin, touched. I keep hearing that the positive side, that the threat was removed. The threat was removed. The threat was never removed. The threat was sent home. The threat could have easily came back to the school and finished off what he started. our kids were sent back to class, not knowing if this kid was going to come back and finish off what he started. I mean, I still don't know how our kids were sent home. I mean, sent back to class when even grown men, soldiers, I mean, I'm a veteran, soldiers, I mean, law enforcement, if they go through something traumatic, they get put on leave. They don't get sent home or told to get back to work. They get put on leave. I mean, everyone here has heard about what happened, but I mean, I'm asking for consequences because we're suffering through consequences. It's our children, but it's not just our children. It's the children, the parents, siblings, immediate family, extended family, friends. Everyone is feeling this. The community is feeling this. Everyone is feeling this. And there's been no consequences because of the decisions that you made. It was your responsibility. You sent our kids back to class. You didn't give us a call. You didn't call law enforcement. You don't need that booklet to figure out what to do if a knife is put to somebody's throat. You call 911. I don't have to open up a booklet. What do I do if a knife's put to a kid's throat? You call 911. You don't investigate. That's just beyond your scope. What happens if if you pull the kid into your office and he pulls out the second weapon that he had and uses it on our children, on you, on the pregnant counselor that was there? He could have easily taken out the second weapon he had, which a lot of people don't know about. He had a second weapon and attacked our kids in the office. Then what? Is that what has to happen? There has to be blood shed. That somebody has to die. Somebody has to get hurt. And then we go back and say, oh, all the signs were there. We should have called 911. We should have got some mental health, some treatment for this kid. Fuck, man, there has to be consequences. Something has to happen. I mean, the changes have to be made, but there needs to be consequences. That's all I got.
Thank you. Marisa.
So, appreciate you guys showing up, some of you showing up to the community safety meeting. We finally are starting to feel heard. We didn't go to the media, we didn't bring an attorney, we didn't do all that because we didn't want the judgment to be clouded. We wanted the focus to be on correcting this, but we haven't seen that. We have tried, we have communicated, we have reached out, we have come to meetings, and still we're at square one where we were 4 weeks ago. My daughter hasn't returned to school, sorry. We are working to restore her trust in administration. It's been an uphill battle because we don't trust administration. We have not seen a root cause analysis. We have not seen anybody take action on that. We came to get answers. We asked why she didn't call us, and we didn't get an answer. We got, I'm sorry, I should have called. A couple times we asked, and that's all we got. Maybe we'll never know, but you all need to find out. In order to fix this, we need to know why this happened. Why my student was treated like a piece of crap. Why the student that was the aggressor got such attention and coddling. He had the counselor in there with him while our students were left alone in another room. That needs to be looked into. Why? Why did that happen? Why wasn't law enforcement called? What answer did we get? Well, this is how I handled investigations in King City. I can get more information. than law enforcement can. So law enforcement suggested that I get as much information before calling them. Okay, that raises more red flags. Really? Really, you still think this is within your scope? It's not. It's not. And how many kids have gone through stuff like this and their parents never found out? There are probably still kids out there suffering and their parents never found out. And so we contacted our friends in law enforcement, our friends in administration. Hey, does this sound right to you? And 100%, no, we get called for vape pens. Why your daughter was assaulted with a deadly weapon. Why didn't you get called? Why didn't law enforcement get involved? This is not the way things are handled.
Thank you. Marisa.
Can I say just two more quick things? We've had a lot of words said to us, a lot of promises, a lot of plans throughout this month, but we have never seen action. We have not seen a root cause analysis. We have not seen any of those promises put into action. Our daughter is still not safe at that school. And we have also not seen a plan for reintegration. We've reached out and we have not seen that. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. And we're very, very disheartened and disappointed.
Thank you. Bargaining unit presentations, Spreckels Teachers Association.
It's a hard act to follow. Thank you, all of you. You are here because you care. This is your choice. When the tough gets going, you haven't run for the hills. You've stayed here and decided to make Spreckels School District the best that it can be. And it's going to be a tough road. There's a lot of healing that has to happen. But I believe that you're committed to it. So if this is my last opportunity to speak to you as an STA president, I just want to make sure that you all know that I have faith in you. You don't have to sit up there and, I'm not saying you're being berated. You're listening. And again, you knew coming into this that it was going to be a buzzsaw. You didn't come in, it was a rocky road. You were trying to pick up some pieces. But I'm just going to speak from some prior law enforcement background. When a school official has the opportunity to gather information, they should do that. They are not bound by the prohibitions of gathering statements as the police would be. Once a minor child is in a custodial situation, parents must be called, Miranda rights must be given. So it does make a difference to try and gather information from a school official, and then that information can be incorporated into a police report. So I know it's maybe kind of hard to put all that together, but gathering information at the time of the event was a very, very important thing to do. Again, there weren't any Miranda right violations. Nobody had the right to an attorney at that point. Our juvenile justice system is broken. Look on the news. How many times does someone have to get arrested and then serve a minor probation sentence? So there's problems out there, but the problems aren't with your lack of caring. So thank you.
Thank you. CSCA? All right, board member comments. Steve? Oh, can you fill out a form?
I can't.
It's not. Okay.
I have a few minutes remaining. Please take my couple minutes.
If,
y yo no estoy preparada, pero voy a hacer Mi primer lenguaje es español. Estoy envuelta en los dos problemas.
We have an interpreter.
Yo soy María Zárate. Mi primer idioma es español y voy a hablar en español.
My first language is Spanish, and I'm going to speak in Spanish.
Estoy envuelta en las dos situaciones que pasaron en Buenavista mis hijos.
I'm involved in both situations.
Y quiero que imaginen cómo te sientes cuando no entiendes, cuando no tienes la información en tu idioma.
Imagine how you feel when you don't receive the information in your language.
Estoy aquí tratando de figurar qué es lo que está pasando.
I'm trying to understand what is happening here.
Siento que no he recibido el mismo apoyo que los demás papás por mi idioma.
I feel like I have not received the same support because of my language.
Quiero que entiendan que este distrito tiene más de 15 lenguajes diferentes.
I want you to understand that this district has more than 15 languages.
Es un distrito multicultural y se trata como que solo hay blancos.
This is a multicultural district, and it acts like it is only a white district.
Es todo. Gracias.
That's all I would like to say. Thank you.
Gracias. Thank you. Steve?
Yeah, good evening, everybody. Certainly interested in what happened on September 7th and the hours and days that followed, and I'm looking forward to the answers as soon as possible. Number one. Number two, we have some work to do as a board. I'll see to it that we'll get it done, if no one else will. But I'm sure we will. Lastly, I'll be visiting campus on 10th or 11th.
Wednesday, whatever that is.
Wednesday's the 11th, I think. So I'll be visiting both campuses on both days with the superintendent, with an eye towards instruction, but now with an eye towards other things. So that's all I have. Stay tuned.
Thank you. Peter?
I'm truly sorry to the parents and the kids at the school. Hopefully we could come along as a community and figure this out and get a report back to you as soon as possible.
Thank you. Frank?
I don't have anything prepared, and I hope you guys don't take offense to that. I thought I would be able to adjust what I was saying based on the comments that I was going to hear tonight. I appreciate Stephanie starting the meeting by describing what I think is it's a frustrating process where this is not a give and take dialogue. You have the opportunity to speak. We don't have an opportunity to address any of your concerns immediately, and I know that's frustrating because I've used to sit on that side. A year ago when I decided to run for this luxurious position, getting to sit up here, I told everyone that voted for me that I would do the best I could to make sure your thoughts and concerns were heard and addressed. And then everyone that showed up tonight and showed up on Tuesday, that's been very beneficial, I believe, for all of us sitting up here. I think there's a lot of information that, for whatever reason, we've never heard or heard for the first time tonight and Tuesday. And as Steve said, now we've got a whole bunch of work to do, more than we had any idea we had. And as the processes are what the processes are, I ask that all of you continue to speak up, continue to write the emails, continue to show up at the meetings. Nothing's going to happen overnight, unfortunately. That is a reality. I wish there was a quick fix for everybody. There's not going to be a quick fix. And it's something that we're all not negotiating. We're all navigating for the very first time. And so for that, I guess it's fortunate that it's our first time. I wish we knew how to do it. I don't think there is a playbook. There's a playbook out there that we heard about on Tuesday, but that playbook failed. So we just need to use some common sense and put our boots on, our gloves on, put our big boy pants on, and go to work. So know that we're doing that work, and you guys can help. So just keep sending the emails, keep showing up, get on record with what you want done.
Thank you. So my comments, and everybody who usually comes knows I typically put together comments, and my comments are a little bit longer tonight. So it has been another challenging month as our small community was rocked by violence and threats of violence at BV. I understand that these types of incidents have become the norm in United States schools. I read the news, I read articles, but it doesn't mean it's okay. It just means it's the reality. I'm a current parent in our district, as are others on this board, and it is really difficult to grapple with the thought of our children not being safe. And it requires a lot of trust to drop off our children in the morning, and as it has been noted many times tonight and recently at the forum, this district must be committed to rebuilding the trust that has been lost over the years. There are many people in our community who are hurting right now, and I hope we can hold space for them and do all we can as a community to lift them up and support them. I am humbled by the engagement by our families and community members, both tonight and earlier this week at the forum, and their demonstration of wanting to work together. This was evident on Tuesday, or whatever day it was, and tonight. We are a strong community because of all of you. Does it mean we all agree? Does it mean we all get along? Does it mean we all agree on the why and how to move forward? Probably not. But if we ground ourselves in what I believe, because I'm speaking just for me right now, this is my public comment, I'm not representing the board, I believe that to be a fact, that we all want the very best for our children, their safety, their mental health, their protection from being bullied and bullying others, and then we can move forward and be stronger. I also want to acknowledge our incredible teachers and staff. I hope you too all noticed how many were in attendance at the forum the other night. I know many of us sing the praises of many of our children's teachers, and many of us as adults recall with special memories our teachers who made a difference in our lives. We need to hold space for them and the vast challenges of being an educator today. I want them to feel our support because we need them. They are vital to our schools. You are appreciated and you are valued, and your voice is important. I heard the many voices at the forum, and again, I know I keep saying that, but I really appreciate people sharing. It's hard to be vulnerable. I've met with staff and plan to have more meetings to move items forward. We'll be speaking about some of those tonight when we have our safety update. I also have a list that I want to talk about first, a brief list. So 1, safety, plan and procedures. These need to be established, they need to be clear, and need to be supported with training. I am grateful to have the experts at Kimball & Associates to help us. Additionally, more supervision on campus. Again, I'm grateful that we have so many community members who are willing to volunteer and utilize their expertise. I also think we may want to consider other opportunities. Number 2, related to the safety plan, which again will be addressed later in the agenda. It was identified and agreed, we've heard it tonight as well too, this root problem analysis should take place, which will inform the development of the safety plan procedures. Again, I believe we have something in place right now, like if something happens immediately, hopefully it doesn't, but we need more short-term development so that this can be a tool. My question is, can Kimball & Associates provide this analysis? And perhaps it already has been established with the meetings that have occurred. Number 3, more mental health support for our students. Yes, mental support, mental health, not just social, emotional health. Again, this was expressed this week. It's expressed tonight. I fully support this expansion. Now we need to determine what we can do, what is available, etc. I'll acknowledge, even already at the beginning of the conversation, that as many of us know, mental health resources are in high demand throughout the nation and in the county. They're There's limited capacity, but I'm committed to pushing this and backing it with funds because our students need it. I'm meeting with our on-site counselor to do a needs assessment to better understand the issues and concerns that are emerging, which can then inform what intervention strategies are appropriate. We will continue to provide the social emotional support which reaches all students, from which all can benefit, but as noted in the form, some of our students need more mental health support. I do not know yet how to reconcile that our teachers and staff are not mental health experts and how much burden training can reasonably be assumed by them. There are many considerations that must be made. None of these items are quick and easy. If they were, they would have already been addressed. Number 4, bullying prevention and intervention. Certainly this is related to the social, emotional health, and mental health of our students, and again, made clear Tuesday, made clear tonight, needs immediate attention. Another area where we can use the term, I've heard it tonight, I'm really happy to hear it tonight, I heard it the other night, culture shift, culture. The culture in this district, the culture at BV. Again, I hope to gain more information from my meeting with the counselor that will inform strategies. I also hope we can leverage our partnership perhaps with Monterey County Office of Education around many of these areas. We need experts to help us. With all this said, I also want to extend the invitation to our community members that you have resources. Many of you are connected to community-based or government agencies that do work in social emotional health or mental health. If you're an expert, please connect with us. We need help. Number 5, lastly, it feels like a long time ago, but just several weeks ago, the district held a courageous conversation session, which Board President Hasagawa, who's not here tonight, hosted with his colleague. I was able to sit in a group of 3 other Spreckels families and have open dialogue about strengths of the district, areas for improvement, and just overall information sharing. I felt it was so valuable, and from what they shared, I believe they felt the same way. I hope we'll continue these sessions and have them ongoing. I believe this could be a helpful way to build this mutual trust that's needed, rebuild, really. With that said, it has also become more clear to me in the recent month through people sharing their feelings and experiences and my own observations that many people don't feel welcome in our Spreckels community. They don't feel like they are welcome, are truly part of it, and there is hurt. Yes, their children attend in the district, but they don't feel welcome to participate and engage. Now maybe other people are thinking, but we go out of our way to promote opportunities for engagement. We do truly want more people to be involved, and there's confusion and hurt. Perhaps these opportunities for us all to sit together in a safe space can help us bridge this divide, though it will require us to be vulnerable. The families and students that this district serves is very diverse, much more diverse than many other districts in our county, and I believe that our diversity is an asset. We need to actively engage with all our families and ensure that their voices are not stifled by a historical system. We have to be deliberate in our efforts to be inclusive, and I am ready. I set that out there for us to consider, and I also encourage you to reach out to me if you have ideas. I will formally say that you are all a part of our community. I see all of you, I hear all of you, and you are a valued partner in the work that we're doing centered on our students. Let's keep communicating and let's keep working together for improvements and strengthening, and I appreciate your willingness to do this with us, side by side, humbly upholding each other, as we will no doubt falter as we step on new ground. Thank you. Reports. Superintendent.
So I had prepared a statement which seems completely inappropriate. I agree. Words, promises, apologies, it's over, right? It's time for action. Tuesday night was pretty tough, but it was necessary on many levels. It allowed voices to be heard. It allowed emotions to be felt, suggestions to be given. If for 1 second my body language made you feel like I wasn't serious, I apologize. I've been part of this district for 30 years. I spent more time here than with my own family. And my heart was breaking that night, so whatever I was doing, I was trying to reconcile a lot of emotion without pretty much just trying to get through the night. And just like if my family was broken and there was a lack of trust and there was hurt, I'm 100% committed to doing whatever it takes to start restoring that in partnership with the district. So again, I hear you, and hopefully when we get to the safety section, we have some very specific steps that are more than words, and you'll see that that's a start. So I appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Point of order. I'm going to go back to 3.9.
Yes, I'm sorry, I had it written there. Oral and written communications, the board has received a written communication regarding the safety incident on September 7th. Buena Vista Middle School principal. Last month has been a whirlwind of difficult emotions and experiences at Buena Vista Middle School. I have seen and felt the anger, the hurt, and the broken trust experienced by many. It has been heartbreaking in countless ways. I understand that this next sentence may feel hollow to some, but I still feel like I want to say it. I'm sorry for my part in us arriving at this place. Thank you to our staff at BV for staying strong and continuing to love and serve our students through these last several weeks. Thank you to our board for reaching out, showing up, and being an active and willing partner in working through these painful experiences with us. Thank you, Superintendent, for your guidance, all our support, and willingness to do whatever it takes to make this right. Thank you, district staff, for your ideas, kindness, honesty, and dedication. Thank you, families, for telling your stories, for showing up, for volunteering, supporting, and communicating your needs. Thank you most of all to our students, who are somehow the most vulnerable and also the most resilient among us. We hear you in the many ways you've spoken to us, and I feel hopeful and am actively engaged in ensuring the changes you need are coming your way. We understand that we need to keep working to make this right. Students, I'm addressing this to you. We need to make this right for you. While these painful experiences have been in the forefront of our minds, there have been lighter moments that carry on the traditions of BVMS and help us to keep moving forward. On 9/22, many of our 7th and 8th grade students enjoyed what was reported to be an amazing field trip experience to the Carmel Ideas Festival. Ms. Jones and Ms. Pena and our district bus drivers took 2 buses full of students to explore possibilities and learn from experts in a variety of fields. Several of our students were actively involved in the presentations, and it's no surprise to hear that our BVMS students were the best behaved students there. Shout out to Stephanie Owens for everything she's doing to organize athletics this year at BVMS. Michelle Chrismore is acting admin in charge at games, and our athletes are playing their hearts out. Athletics continue to be a favorite way for our students to learn and grow. Other great opportunities for our students include our after-school art program with Christine Harder, which will start its 2nd session on October 18. BVMS is also hosting ASL classes once a week on our campus, and several students are enjoying learning yet another language. Shout out to Kendall Colombo, who is our ASB advisor for her facilitation of this year's ASB campaign season. And a huge shout out to our 16 students who ran for ASB officer opportunities. The speeches were incredible and the energy was palpable. We're proud of the winners and we're proud of those who didn't win. It takes a lot of courage to put yourself out there and to be willing to step up and serve your community. BV currently has 2 homework clubs going, hosted by Miss Witcher and Miss Jones, so students have a place to focus on independent homework. Ms. Colombo has formed a math homework club that is supporting some of our 6th and 7th grade students. Progress reports will be distributed next week, and conference week for students needing support will follow the week after that. We'll also be starting up a bridging program when conferences end, so our students who are struggling have that extra support. We are looking forward to the upcoming weeks. And as always, go Bobcats. Thank you. Spreckels Elementary School.
Good evening. So I was going to talk about our new science curriculum and all the cool stuff that's going on with science. I'm going to save that one for next month and just share a couple of things that I think are important. At the elementary level, we all work really hard to build relationships with our kiddos in lots of different ways. Yesterday at our staff meeting, we talked about that, and I honored my staff for what a great job they do in really getting to know the kids and the families and letting them know that they're there for them. I, every year, always make it a priority to make sure that we have those the things in place that help the teachers with those relationships and also that make it a little easier for us. So we do lots of positive things like pirate passes and positive office referrals and everything we can do to keep all the positive behaviors going. But from our TK class all the way up through 5th, we work really hard to talk about how each other should be treated, to talk about kindness, to talk about what you should do when you're having a problem with someone and there's an issue, and to let the kids know that they can talk to us. I feel like we do that really well, but there's always times when students don't feel comfortable for whatever reason, and just knowing that, I've always known that as an educator, hurts my heart. I wish that I could convince every single student whenever something's going on, stand up for yourself and talk to an adult so we can help you. It doesn't always happen, but I am committed, as I've always been, to keep working on that and keep building those relationships and supporting the kiddos so they can do that. And we also, as most of you know, if you were at Spreckels before you were at BV, we are a bucket filling school, and really the metaphor of being a bucket filler is really about knowing that you treat people with kindness. When there's a problem, you use resiliency to step up and speak and to get help where you're needed. We're just going to keep working on that really hard. The other thing I wanted to share is in 2 weeks, we have an assembly that our PTO paid for that is Omega Man. And Omega Man is a superhero, and he is a superhero against bullying. So we will all be superheroes that day and work really hard to work on anti-bullying as we try to do all the time. So I wanted just to share that, and also share that also in October is Unity Day, and we celebrate Unity Day. It's a national, well, actually it's an international day that we focus on bringing everybody together, which is really important for our kids. And we also do a lunch where we ask them not to sit with who they usually sit with and make new friends. And those are all little tiny things, but I believe they can make a difference. And I also feel that that will always be what I do, is to empower kids, to have them speak up for themselves, and to support them as much as we possibly can. And I just want to shout out big time to my staff because they do it every single day. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any representatives from SUEF, PTO, Bobcat?
No.
Okay. Okay, moving on to business. September 2023 fund balance and comparison reports.
So, not a lot of lot's changed since our last board meeting with respect to looking at the fund balance. We're still waiting for the state to collect the deferred tax revenues from individuals and companies. So right now you're seeing a very small amount of revenue actually coming in. That will, of course, get self-corrected in due time. But until that time, we just kind of sit back and we wait for the state to give us that allotment that we have been promised, which is roughly $12 million, $12.6 million. So we're hoping that that all comes through. Can you talk a little louder? Sure. So
was saying was that at this time of the year, if we look, go back to the first one, or actually we'll just go to this next slide. If you look here at the
this
top,
is the one.
at the top of this. Okay, good. So this top row that says revenues here, these are the state revenues that we collect to operate our schools. It's not uncommon for the state to take several months, usually into mid-October to late October, to actually transfer the full amount of funding. So we're funded for $12 million on the year, but we've only received 1.586 million to date. So it looks like we're operating at this large deficit. If you look at the lower right corner where it says a negative 1.5 million, we're not really operating at that deficit. It's just kind of a numbers game that we're waiting for it to catch up. The district is extremely fiscally solvent. Should be no threats in terms of our ability to continue to operate. But as you can see here, this year, because of those deferred taxes that we're waiting to see what the state was actually able to get in October, we don't know exactly what that revenue will be, and so they've been a little more lax in getting us our revenue stream in. So we're down. We normally have about $2.5 million at this point of the year. We're sitting at 1.5. And again, everything down here as far as net surplus or deficit, that's really just a function of not receiving our income at this point. And so if we continue to look at this, if you look at the revenues, these are the last 4 years of revenues. You can see there's some volatility there, but it's in overall numbers, usually in the 2 millions. We're only at 1.58 right now. So all that's saying is there should be a little bit of caution. We don't know what's going to happen with state revenues yet. So there could be some unexpected revenue dip in our future. If we look here at expenditures to date, so this is through September 30th, you can see that we're only about 1% increase over last year's, which is really good. So we're trying to keep it as tight as we can, be as frugal as we can, until we know exactly where we sit in terms of the budget. Oops. Yeah. So your net ending funding balances, what you see here is the fund balance is essentially our savings. This is what allows us to react to things that occur in our future. And so right now we're looking at a slight decrease for this year. But that's because of some of the capital outlays that we've done and improvements in the last year or two. So really the real message from a financial standpoint is we're fiscally solid, we're solvent. We should be able to meet our challenges, but there will be decisions that have to be made when we decide to go in new directions, because there is only so much to spend. So the pie is already set. How we slice that pie is where the real decisions have to be made. And that's it.
Any questions? I just have a quick question. So 2024 represents the fiscal year?
Yes.
Okay, so the full year.
The full
Okay,
year.
and yet we're looking at date
We're looking
of September
at
30th.
Through September
Okay,
30th.
okay.
That's correct.
All right. All right. Thank you. Program updates, facilities?
No.
Good evening. As far as facilities, I've been working on the painting project. We have the specs done for the Spreckels School. Still waiting on the Buena Vista project because of the larger scope of work with the pavilion and the process to restore it to a new condition. Also, for Buena Vista, we're also already doing safety measures. We've ordered new gate closers for the remaining gates that don't have them, so they'll all automatically close on both school sites. Those should be installed next week. And also I have a locksmith coming on Monday to change the keying and access to the school also. So that's about what's going on there.
Any questions? Right, thank you. Food service?
Yeah, so food service, I've been attending some of the lunch services. So I've been attending some of the lunch services to just kind of get a good feel for it. I think there's a lot of areas for improvement in how we operate. As you know, we don't have our own cafeteria, so we have to rely upon lunches that are brought over from Mission Park School, Salinas City Elementary District, and that presents us some challenges. We don't have a lot of flexibility. Their menus are fairly set, and we have to do that. However, one area of improvement that I see that we can immediately make is here at Spreckels Elementary School, being able to look towards making it more fully functional, which would entail putting in a three-sink system so that they can actually start to use knives and other utensils, which helps the little ones. The little ones get this apple, for example, every day. Well, some of them can't even necessarily get their mouth around an apple. Or their teeth aren't really set to really bite into an apple. So being able to just slice an apple so that they get the nutrition that they need. Because one thing we don't talk enough about is how important nutrition is for a student to learn. If they're hungry, they're not learning. They're thinking about their hunger. And so we need to put some effort into that. Being new to the district, I think that's an area where we can really make an impact. Another thing, we talk about culture. A lot happens around meals, right? There's a lot of power there. There's a lot of ways we can incorporate things to happen at mealtime that can start to heal some people here and get the children together. So that's what I hope to be able to do. Obviously, that pie is limited.
Yeah.
And so what we can do with it remains to be seen, but I hope to be able to present to you in the future some suggestions for really how to really take it to that next step.
Thank you. Transportation?
You have any?
If there's an update?
Come on, honey.
So as you know, we are functioning right now with 2 regular drivers, and the 3rd route is being pieced together by our subs. Thank God for Janie and Anita, who retired and are still willing to come back and help. And then we use our maintenance bus driver to fill in also. It is a challenge. Today we had 2 drivers this morning because one was out. And we did our best. We were able to get everybody to school a little bit late, but get them here all safely. It's kind of a week to week. We just go with the flow and do the best that we can. And as long as everybody's getting to and from school safely, that's my goal. So anybody want to become a bus driver? Because we really could use them. But that's it.
Thank you. 2023-24 class configuration update, 9/28/2023.
We bring it to you every month. This kind of just follows the trends. Not much movement at all. Maybe a shift of 2 kids or so.
Any questions? Okay.
Somewhat related, kind of. Remember, maybe you don't know, but we're going to want to see periodically ADA report to track attendance. It's been a concern of the board carrying over from last school year this year, so we need to make sure we don't let that fade away into the background, that that's still something we're going to focus on and troubleshoot if necessary. Thank you.
Thank you. I just have a quick question. It's kind of related. So I think we had talked last year, the substitute consortium, right?
Yep.
Are we still a part of this? Because I mean, assuming substitutes are still in high demand.
Huge high demand. The county consortium, we do belong to it, correct?
Okay, so we have access to.
Access to the consortium, and what I do is I send out, I can access the information that's issued. So I district, and now they've opened it up to everybody, so we have access to every sub that's available
Like in the county?
in the county. So I send a mass email and basically ask them if they're interested, reach out.
Are we getting like good results? Are we getting those?
It's challenging because I'm
Still,
you know,
okay.
stretched everywhere, so yeah.
Okay.
We get some. Get in like at least a few more. It's hard. It's hard to compete with the rates that everybody other district
Yeah.
is paying.
Okay.
So it's hard to attract subs when we're daily rate in another district is like double or triple what we pay. So,
Double or triple? All right.
and not only that, but other districts have super subs. So what they do is they contract a lot of the subs that are in the consortium for the whole year. So it's hard for us
To snag 'em.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
We have great subs. The subs that we do have.
That's what I see, yeah.
They,
Yeah, we want to keep our subs, right, too?
they're always willing to help out when they can. So yeah.
All right. Thank you. Okay, Monterey County Office of Education review of the 23-24 Spreckels adopted budget and local control accountability plan, the LCAP.
This is the same budget in LCAP we passed in June, but it goes to the county for their review. This is just saying they concur and they approve our budget. There's some cosmetic changes to the LCAP. They just make sure every metric that the state requires is the language matches what they're looking for. And then the MCOE has been amazingly supportive. So
Good.
this is just what you've seen before, the final version. We need to post this tomorrow to the website. Thank you. Sorry. Before I forgot.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. 23-24 Educator Effectiveness Fund report, submit 929.
Yeah, so, as you know, we were granted from the state educator effectiveness funds that we use each year to promote effective teaching. And so in the past year, we just have to report every year what we do spend. So this past year, we spent $35,836. $25,740 of that actually went towards induction for newer teachers, so supporting those newer teachers and their coaches and mentors. And then another 10,000, roughly 10,100 was spent on standard aligned instruction. And that entailed a group going to the Q conference, learning how technology can help support standards-based instruction. So that's what it is.
Okay. Doesn't look like any questions, so moving on to action. Is there a motion to move to public hearing?
I'll move.
A second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Motion's approved. Public hearing? Did I just read?
Yes, people with opportunity.
Did I just read this? Pursuant?
Yep.
Okay. So pursuant to Ed Code Section 43509, the Governing Board of Spreckels Union School District will hold a public hearing on the instructional materials sufficiency. Do we look at the public notice or no?
Yep. Oh, this was posted for 10 days before, which is the requirement.
All right. Nobody? All right. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn the public hearing?
Second?
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. 23-24 board resolution, textbook and instructional materials compliance.
Motion.
Oh,
Motion to, by roll call vote, no, it's not, this is not a hearing, it's roll call vote.
Okay.
okay. So there, are you presenting anything?
Yeah, so we're required to basically show the public that our textbooks are in alignment. The only changes from last year is that they've adopted science at Spreckels and math at Buena Vista. Everything else is the same. Next up on our adoption probably will be social studies at Spreckels, and we need to look at health, which is falling behind at
Yes.
BV. I
Yes,
remember that.
please.
Yeah.
Yes. And you said social science.
social
Studies.
studies, yeah.
Sorry. Okay. Yeah, that's
And
right.
those are actually, the updated ones are in your folder. But those are the only changes.
Okay. Second? But don't, okay. Frank? I agree. I don't think we've, right, but I don't think we moved.
Point of order.
Yeah.
So it's roll call vote. So first of all, you have to get the motion on the floor. It's just instead of a voice vote, it has to be individual vote.
I don't think the motion's on the floor yet.
Yeah, I think it was.
No, I think that was,
Oh, okay.
It was moved, I moved it.
No one seconded
Wasn't
it?
seconded.
I'll second it.
Perfect. There we go.
okay. Frank?
Aye.
Steve?
Aye.
Stephanie? Aye. Peter?
Aye.
Okay, passes. All right, 2324, board resolution, authorize signers, Bank of America. Is there a motion?
Deja vu. Aye. I mean,
So-
motion to establish a roll call vote on the motion.
Second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Frank?
Aye.
Steve?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Stephanie? Aye. Okay, motion's approved. 2324, board resolution, approval of establishment of special reserve for capital outlay projects.
I will move that roll call vote motion.
Okay, is there a second? Okay, Frank?
Aye.
Steve?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Stephanie? Aye. Okay, motion is approved. Curriculum instruction, no information. Action, 2324 proposed SUSD Master English Language Development Plan. Is there a motion?
Move to approve.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay.
We actually approved this in the spring, but Mrs. Villarang and her team completely revised made it beautiful, basically. Inserted all the different, the forms that we use, and there's two big changes. So we've now added what's called Dibbles assessment for the younger guys. So that's now a measurement that we'll use to gauge kids' progress, as well as areas. So that's why we brought, it's a much nicer version, thank you, Mrs. Virango, but it has those two changes too. So it's now updated.
Okay. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Okay, no personnel, administration, committees update, please.
The safety committee met a couple weeks ago to kind of debrief after the incidents to talk about how what sites thought were priorities, and we are expanding our committee. The email went out today to recruit. We'd like to have parents on it as well. I received one, thank you. Anybody's interested, we meet once a month, usually in the morning, but we could, depending on the who's in it, we can kind of adjust that.
Yeah.
And then we have our facility committee meeting next Wednesday, Frank, right?
Yeah.
You're on there. So, and we have a lot to do. We have CFS coming to talk about facility needs assessment, and then Andy kind of will update people on, paint colors and things like that.
Is there anything else that might be on the agenda for the,
The needs assessment might.
for the facilities? Those,
The facilities, the needs assessment might identify lockers and things like that. Is that what you're talking about?
that's what I'm talking
Okay.
about.
I got
Okay.
you. We're good. We're
Okay. How about equity committee?
The equity committee is next up after, yes.
Okay.
It's happening soon.
And when does LCAP have their first
But we
convening?
don't do that till January.
January.
Yeah.
Okay. It's right around the corner.
January? Oh, okay.
Are we, and I know we've talked in the past about putting a schedule together of these committee meetings throughout the academic year.
Yeah, I think there was one couple, we put it by, do you remember the one by month that said who would be meeting? We shared that with the board a while back, but I can bring it back.
Okay, yeah, I
And
don't
it's
think I saw it.
a tentative one. Obviously, things happen.
Right.
So the safety committee will.
But like
obviously-
safety is now monthly, so
Yep.
that's clearly there.
Right.
Facilities is how, is that
It kind of
monthly?
depends on the need, but no, probably every other month.
Okay. All right,
This is coming next. Yeah.
yep, school safety.
So, the reason we're here, for many, is because we need to talk about what we're doing next, how we move forward. So an email went out today, and it listed a lot of things we've already done since Tuesday. The first is that we are adding an anonymous tip line that allows students, families, staff, and community members to immediately report anonymously any suspicion or anything that didn't look right. That should be 2 to 3 weeks, Bernard. There's some training involved.
Tip line will be up and available on Monday.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
You need to do some training and then be able to put together training for students and
All right. Also, Andy mentioned the exterior gates. Some parents, thank you for bringing it to our attention. The perimeter gates are to be closed at all times during school hours, and the ones at Buena Vista, they open and close naturally, but the others, a kid can go through, forget to close it, and now you're vulnerable. So Andy figured out, I guess this is CO2, something about.
Yeah, we're just automatic closers on all the remaining gates.
Right.
7 at Buena Vista and 3 at Spreckels.
Right. Tuesday, we're meeting with Kimball and Associates to kind of lay out the next few months about training, threat analysis, drill schedules and assessments, the creation of a behavior threat assessment team at both sites. We're also working with MCOE for digital behavior threats and assessments. So we're getting the support from those partners, and we'll be rolling it out soon, as soon as we possibly can. Also, we're trying to recruit some volunteers. It was brought up today, how long would it take? We've already deputized our first person. I think he's here.
You there?
Steve, thank you. Steve will be wearing a green vest. Yes, thank you. The process is you let us know your schedule, whether you're willing to do it, live scan, and then we'll figure it out. So he's going to be out in Buena Vista as another set of eyes, trained eyes. And so we're ready. So if you want to be part of that, let me know, and we will find a place for you. We need you. We need the partners. Yeah, it's our community. So that happened today. Thank you, Steve. You, again, you're a deputy now. And then there's conversations about other things people brought up, whether it's staffing or other types of things, metal detectors. Those were all brought up at the meeting, and we're not just dismissing any of those ideas. But it really has to be what the community wants with board direction. So the board can have a conversation about what you heard and what you think we need to perhaps do next. If it's staffing, we can come back at the next meeting with different versions. There's no. So if you like to look at different levels of security, there are campus supervisors, there are SROs, there are there's versions, there's private security, and we could bring back options if that's the board's desire. Just give us the direction, we'll bring it back. Any other ideas from the community that you heard that you think are valid to pursue? Just say go. Oh, by the way, Peter volunteered to be a volunteer. You're gonna, thank you very much. He's gonna also volunteer with Steve, so we have 2.
Thank you.
If we're discussing this, I think.
Turn your mic on.
I think you can hear me without it.
Well, for the people on.
If we're discussing this, as I think we've opened that up for
Yes,
discussion,
yes,
right?
yes.
The community would probably like some options. So if we have a mechanism to get various options to the community with numbers on them, with costs, everything has a cost.
Right.
And we've already talked about the pizza's only this big. I think it just makes sense to put that back out there to the community and hear their feedback, what they want to see.
We could bring back, like you said, a menu of staffing upgrades for you to, take a look at with cost, but also, the benefits. Obviously, having your own employees, I think, would be a benefit. We can show you that. We can show you what private security costs.
And
So-
I think that should happen as soon as you're able to do that,
I can bring it
whatever
to
that
you.
is.
Yeah, I can bring it to you as soon as you want, but we have a special meeting, or we could do it in November, up to you. We can decide that.
I would piggyback on that. I mean, I think I'd like to look at the options around the campus monitor, what some costs and what
Sure.
that might look like. And
Okay.
I'm so appreciative that our community partners are willing to be sets of eyes. I think that supervision, it sounds like that's addressing a number of concerns. So I'm glad that we're able to do that right away.
Okay, we'll bring that back.
Any other discussion or thoughts?
I'm waiting to comment during future agenda items at the end of the meeting.
Oh.
Okay. Okay, then we will move on to the next item, the 23-24 Board of Trustees Master Agenda Calendar.
This is standard, just kind of lays out what we're supposed to talk about each month. Some things get moved around. For example, if we don't get test scores in a certain month, we'll go to the next. As things become a focus, we could add them to the month. But this is just a template of what's brought in front of you when.
All right, Spreckels Union School District Gamut Guide Sheet, June 23.
To approve.
Second,
I'll second it.
is there any discussion?
Anything from staff on this?
No.
Okay, all right. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Consent items. Anybody like to pull anything from consent? All right. Do I have a motion?
I'll move consent.
Second?
Aye.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, consent's approved. Future agenda items.
Yeah, sure. Among ADA reports, tracking attendance, maybe not every month, but every other? Would you get that agendized? Sure. Also, if it was reported earlier in the meeting, coming out of closed session, that the administration's been directed to engage in a third-party investigator regarding Buena Vista Middle School on September 7th and the hours and days that follow. If you're able to get that contract at the next meeting, that should be on the agenda. However, if we can get it sooner, I'm open to scheduling a special meeting to, one, engage in that contract with a third-party investigator, and two, if you have options regarding staffing to support campus climate, security, and safety at both campuses, let alone just Buena Vista.
And everything we're talking about is both
Well,
campuses, I'm sorry.
Yeah, let me finish. I got you.
Yeah.
And you're able to affect any negotiations that you've been directed to engage in. I would suggest you get that to us sooner rather than 4 weeks from now.
Okay.
If possible.
Okay.
I understand. It may not be as simple as it seems, but let's schedule a special meeting and get that work done
Okay.
and get those things rolling.
Do we want to put a
Tentative date.
calendar hold right now while we're all here?
My October's a mess, but I'll tell you where I'm free. And again, it can be during the day.
Right.
It's special, right? Okay.
You let me know. If you guys look at your calendar, I would think give me at least.
Calendars now?
Yeah, but we can put some.
We're not going to call it a special meeting now, but you're going to, depending on how much I can get done in the next couple weeks.
Do you want to send an email to each of us individually to see what or do a
I can do
Google
that.
poll with us?
I can do that.
Blind carbon copy and
Yep.
see what pops.
Do you prefer mornings, nights, afternoons? What?
I got a mix, but I'm out of town more than I'm in town during the
Okay.
month of October.
Okay.
And pretty much so in November as well.
I'll send something out tomorrow,
Work.
and you can just go, if you have any
Okay.
blockout dates, we'll go around those.
But more, if we're able to affect mornings as a meeting, that would be, it would be more opportunities for me to participate in those meetings then.
Would that work for you guys, all three of you?
Yes.
Depending on the day, yeah.
Okay.
Any other items?
That's all I have.
Okay. Anybody else? All right. A motion to entertain to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Second?
I'll second.
So we didn't need a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, meeting is adjourned. 8:35. Okay, you need me to sign.
Yeah, and then just